Okay. So before you start with, I need to understand what are your impressions about the interview. What do you understand with the word interview? Right? What do you understand with the word interview? What according to you can is the best purpose of an interview? Okay, so as I can see, the purpose of an interview is basically to assess the profile, right? You already have definitely shared your resume with your recruiter. Your recruiter has the complete information of what you are, how you will be taking up the class, how you'll be fitting in that particular job role, what skills you are having. But the complete assessment of your profile, but the complete understanding of the worth of how your skills are going to be worthy or prove to be an asset for the organization, that can only be possible once you appear for the interview, because you in an interview you highlight about your personality, you highlight what you are having that makes you different from the other profile, right? That's the reason the interviews are conducted. So these are some of the very important things you need to take care while you'll be preparing for the interview. Right. First of all, you need to be understand that there are different kind of questions which you will be asked in an interview. Now, these questions may be technical, maybe just general questions. General, it's not the general knowledge questions, it's the general assessment of your skills. These skills can be your soft skill, these skills can be your other like critical thinking skills, your decision making skills, your conflict management, the teamwork. So all these skills, these are the general skills on which you will be assessed on the general basis. And in other skills would be the technical interview where you will be definitely judged over your technical skills, like the skills you'll be having with, let's say, if you are good at coding or if you are good at some certain computer language, or you are a certified learn you have like you are a certified applicant with some technical tool. So these are the technical skills which you'll be exhibiting while you'll be questioning about your core skills, right? So these are the general questions which are mainly focused on your general skills. First is a strategic interview, next you have the screening interviews, behavioral, performance based interview, and the interview questions on the basis of experience and on the basis of career goals. So for the experience, performance based and strategic questions, these are most of the time asked from the experienced professionals who are already working for some organization. And for the beginners, for the freshers, they are mostly assessed on the basis of their behavior, their career goals, like what vision they are having, what kind of vision they are carrying with them, and of course with the skills they'll be having, right? Because it will be their first chance to start with their skills. So that's the reason on the basis of the skills as well. So these are the different parameters and the different stages on which the candidates are assessed. Next, you have the technical interview questions. Hello. Hello. Next, you have the technical interview questions. So these technical interviews are basically for your like for the assessment of the skills you are having. So let's say if you are appearing for any particular technical training, or let's say some to exhibit, to utilize some kind of particular skill. For that they will be having some questions, they'll be having some specific parts which you need to go through with the same, right? So starting with the simple screening on the phone, which is a general, a phone call where the general profile is discussed, and then you have the online assessment. These online assessments are basically any questions or any particular type of assignment which you need to complete in a specific period. So once you complete it, you will be assessed whether you have completed with the precision or not, or what, whether you were able to score well in that assessment or not. And that way, if you had clear it, then you move towards the next round, which is the video assessment. Video assessment is your round of interview with your recruiter. These can be a panel, and it can be an interviewer itself. So depending upon the job role and the organization, it is it is the panel or the single interviewer who takes your interview. Next is your on-site and whiteboarding. So this is basically to understand how much you are familiar with the tools available out there, and what kind of familiarity you have with the advanced technology. Because technology is something which is changing on the, which is not changing, rather evolving on a constant pace. Right. So it is not only the technology which you are dealing with, it is the constant evolve, it is your constant evolvement as well. So how much you are evolved with the time, and what kind of ideas you have generated with the same, that these all things are assessed on the basis of these parameters, right? So some of the very basic points which you need to take care while you are going for an interview: first is your clothing, next is the stuff you will be carrying with you, and last is the people or the person who is going to interview you. This information you can definitely grab or gather from the from the various platforms. Like you can, there are several platforms or the websites which provides you reviews for a specific organization, or you can go for any like you can go to LinkedIn, and you can refer LinkedIn for connecting with the people or to know more about the organization. So this research will definitely put you on the upper hand on the other participants, because it will relate you to the organization's environment, their workplace. Now, first of all, we'll discuss about the behavioral interviews. What kind of interviews are the behavioral interviews? So, behavioral interviews are basically where you are assessed on your reactions, on the kind of behavior you'll be exhibiting once you put in a specific situation. So, they will hypothetically put you in any kind of difficult situations, or they will provide you any challenge, and you will be asked how you are to come up, or how you will be handling these kind of challenges, right? So this can be either this, or if you are an experienced profile, they can ask you that you are to discuss about any particular phase where you had handled some difficult situation or challenging situation with ease. So here you are to follow this STAR method, which is first to understand the situation, then to talk about the task you had planned, like the strategy you will be taking up, and then action, how you'll be applying it, and talk about the results. So in the hypothetical case, you need to give, or you need to mention some of the two or three possible results. And in the actual situations, if you are a experienced profile, you need to talk about the performance, or you need to talk about the result you have attained while utilizing those skills which you had exhibited. So describe a time when you handled a situation or give an example of time you worked in a team. Now, when you talk about the teamwork, you are to majorly focus on your contributions. You are to majorly focus on your efforts instead of just highlighting the whole team. Your focus should always, the limelight should always be on your efforts you had provided as a team member in order to overcome that particular situation. So these are the different types of interviews. So for soft skills, motivation, and company fit, they'll be asking you HR interviews, like HR general questions. They'll be asking you for any particular knowledge or job specific skills. They will be asking you technical questions, which will be majorly related to to the core skill, or majorly related to some of the intricacies which will be applying while working on that particular job role. And last is the behavioral interviews. Behavioral interviews is basic are your reactions, are your these are basically your idea of thoughts, how much these are evolved, and what kind of thought of school of thoughts you are coming from. Okay, so these are the various features of online interviews. So with the online interviews, these are most of the time conducted on Zoom, Google Meets, Microsoft Teams, or let's say there are many other platforms which most of the organizations, they have a specific platform, right? So you need to understand. So once you get the interview call for the virtual round, or let's say for the final round, and that needs to be a virtual one, so make sure that you are first familiar with the term, with the particular platform they had asked you to join, or they had asked you to upload it prior. So make sure that you avail yourself 30 minutes before, read all the instructions well, and go with the instructions provided. These are some of the questions. I want you all to please write your respective answers on a paper. I am going to discuss these. I'm not going to ask you what you have written, but I will provide you answers. What can be the best possible content to be utilized? I'll give you 2 or 3 minutes quickly. No, let's say 5 minutes, and so quickly complete it and let me know. Okay, I believe that you guys have curated some of your answers. So let's start with the question number one. Tell me something about yourself. So with this, when you are asked about tell me something about yourself by the recruiter, it is important, instead of just mentioning what you have already mentioned in the resume, you are to mention something which is not there. So the best way is to highlight about your current role and start with the it's like the compacted information, the highlighted part. So let's say if it's so let's say so if it is about me, so I'll be concluding my 5 years of experience with the training sessions, with the kind of the clients I'll be mentioning, like these were my clients, or these were the people I had helped with the core areas of strengthening their language skills, personality development, interview strengthening programs, and this way. So club all these things all together and make sure that it should not be very lengthy. It should only be of 2 minutes, 2 minutes, or somewhere 1.5 minutes, not more than that. That would be suffice. Talking about yourself for like more than 2 3 minutes would be definitely it would not be a positive impact, it would provide you a negative impact. So make sure that you would not be exceeding it more than 2 minutes. Next is what brings you here. Why did you apply for the job role? Now, for this, you need to be very much familiar with the job role. The job description section is the best part which you need to take, which you need to cautiously read, understand what are the major areas which are the most relevant to your profile. Pick those up and mention these areas like you are best at so and so, whatever will be mentioned there on the job description section. You need to pick the best skills, best match skills, right? And that's how you are to mention those skills in your answer. That will make it more relatable. At the same time, your profile would be highlighted, right, amongst rest of the other participants. Next, you have what you know about the organization. Now, this question definitely be helped with the research you have already done. With the research, you need to take care of certain things like what the particular project the organization or any service the organization is dealing with. Next is what kind of competitions they are having out there and what kind of workplace they are having. So these are the major three elements which talk about a recruiter's intention and an employer's stability, right? So do answer it in a way which needs to be more in aligned with the organization interest, and it should not only be 100% organization interest. You need to balance it out, because if you'll be going 100% towards the company interest, that shows that you are not enthusiast, you do not have the urge to grow yourself. So make it such a way where you would be benefited and the organization will gain as well, right? Next is, why do you think you deserve this
Uh,
job?
Mohita, I'm
Hello?
sorry to
Yes.
interrupt you. Do you mind giving me points in what do you know about the company so that I can research on the same going forward?
Okay,
If you give me pointers, it will be really very grateful.
definitely. Okay, so with the pointers, first you need to understand the organization's service or any product they are dealing into. Make sure that you are having in-depth understanding of that service so that you can relate your profile best to it. Next, understand the kind of competitors they are having in the market and how they are providing the things differently, or what unique thing they are providing, which is not, or which their competitors are not providing. And then research about the workspace, what kind of workspace they are having, because that explains um, the kind of motivation they would be providing to the employees. Further, it talks more about the work pressure on the employees, correct? Because the kind of competition they'll be having from the outside world, the complete would be on the employees to provide them better results, correct? So that way you need to understand about the workspace. And the next point is to make sure the kind of perks they are providing, and perks should not only be on the monetary basis. These can be any training programs, these can be any rejuvenating activities they planned on the weekly basis, or let's say monthly basis, whatever criteria they are having. So these perks can be motivational, emotional quotient as well, to raise the emotional quotient of the employees. So these kind of perks you also need to take care, so that when you go for an interview, you should be rather more aware, like what will be their focus, whether they'll be compassionate or empathizing with their employees or not, right? So these some of the points will definitely enable you to understand the company's status and the kind of expectations they'll be having from the employers. One more important thing you can take care about, you can research about, is the dress sense they are having, any dress code if they are having, like whether the employees are like whether the employees are allowed to wear casual or they are more into a formal attire. So this talks about the discipline they are having, and the kind of uh, the basically the rigidness or the kind of control they need to have in the organization. So these, and also important thing is to talk, check with the stability of the employees. Check whether the employees are stable or not with the organization, the kind of tenure they are working with. And all these things, you can take the help of various websites. You can go to LinkedIn for the same, connect with the people. If you are very much serious towards that particular organization, you need to do these research. You can connect with the employees, current employees. And one best tip is to, when you get the virtual, most of the organizations, they always have a virtual round, right? So when they conduct a virtual round, the list of participants is already there. So check with the employees if you can find those employees, if you can find those people's in like their profile on the LinkedIn, so that you understand the kind of designation they are into, or the kind of job role they are into, and what can be their expectations, what can be expected questions of there from you. So these definitely help you a lot. I believe I have answered this question well. Next, you have the, why do you think
Thank you
you,
so much, Mohita.
you're welcome. Why do you think you deserve this job role? Okay, so when you are to talk about this particular section, make sure your focus should mainly will be on your skills, right? On your core skills, which are the most matched to the job role. For this, read the job description sections, pick the best or pick the most skills which are mentioned at the beginning of the job description sections, because definitely if these are mentioned at the beginning, these these skills are at the priority. So try to match those with your profile and mention these to the employer, so that they can understand that you possess, you have that ability, and you can definitely prove yourself as an asset for the organization. Next, you have, how do you see yourself in the next 5 years from now? Now, this basically is asked to understand your vision, how much clarity you have with your ideas, and what kind of growth you are expecting in your career. And for the same growth, you need to mention any kind of course you have enrolled for for your upgradation, because this is a, like, here in this current scenario, current era, everyone is a learner. Every time you need to be into a process of learning something, because that talks more about your evolvement, that talks more about your growth. Next is the strengths and the weaknesses. These are very tricky questions, and many of the candidates, they get stuck with this, and they fall into the trap of getting negative answers. So with your strengths, again, the major the major focus should only be on the skills you are having for now, right? For you, here you can mention about any certification you have completed, any particular accolades or any achievements you have for your previous at your previous workplace, or any particular acknowledgement you have received from any certified organization for the same. And with the weaknesses, instead of mentioning something you are not good at, talk about you are into a learning process. Let's say if you are not very good at communication, or let's say if you're not very good at emotional quotient, you can talk about that recently you have enrolled yourself towards strengthening your emotional quotient, or towards learn, like you have enrolled yourself for a short duration of the emotional intelligence course, right? So this way you can provide them the idea that you are a learner throughout, and you have this zeal to learn at each and every space in your life, to provide you room for the growth. Next is the panel interviews. Now, these panel interviews are for the managerial roles, or for the major roles, which actually are which actually holds a great responsibility. So with these are quite difficult or challenging ones, because here multiple people you are to deal with. So let's say more than two people you get in a panel interview, and this panel basically comes with the different ideas. So one can be from the technical department, one can be the head from the HR, one can be some other particular like domain. So you have to come up with some of the questions which would satisfy everyone's everyone's ideas, right? Which is definitely the most difficult task. When you are to convince one person, that itself is a challenge. That itself is a challenging task. But when you are to convince three or more than three people with your ideas, that actually requires a strong grit, right? So here you need to be assertive with your tone. Your tone is the most important part here, because in an in a panel interview, they if not majorly focus on the content, they would be focusing more on your body language, the kind of personality you will be carrying, and how you'll be handling the stress situations. So the major focus will definitely be not on your ideas which you'll be showcasing, but on the way you will be showcasing your highlighting your ideas, right? Allow me a minute, please. I would take a break here. Just a second. Okay. So as the manager, these are the points, and as an employer, sorry, as an employee, these are the points. Please go through with the same. And with this, I conclude the session here itself. And I would like you to ask your questions here. If you have any specific questions for whatever we have discussed in the class, the last 5 minutes is for your questions. So let me know if you have any of the doubt, anything you want to ask, but make sure I won't be able to answer specifically as per your profile, because every profile requires a different kind of restructuring of the resume preparation for the interview, and everything depends upon the organization you are approaching and the job role you are going for, right? So any general questions if you are having, please let me know.
Yeah, hi ma'am. Ma'am, actually,
Hello.
I just want to know that what weakness should I need to mention, because sometimes it's also create a bad impression to the interviewer. So, can you give me some specific weakness that I need to mention that won't
Okay.
create a bad impression?
Okay, I've already given you a general reference here. So let's say if I am a trainer, right? And I'm a
Mm-hmm.
soft skill trainer, and I train people for different parameters. I train people for languages, I train people for the interview strengthening sessions, for their personality development, how they are to prepare for presentation skills and all, right? So the parameters I need to check, what can be the best parameters in my range. So let's say if I prepare somewhere for any leadership program, right? I'm learning a new, or I have enrolled myself for any certification for the leadership. So I can mention that in the in the weakness section, that I believe that my this area needs to strengthen more. And for the same, recently I have enrolled myself for a 2 week program or a 1 month certification program with so and so organization to strengthen my this skill.
Okay, okay. Thank
Correct.
you so
So
much. Yeah.
instead of directly mentioning something which you are not good at, mention something which you are learning.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Any further questions, guys? These last 5 minutes are for your questions. Because since we had started only, it was me who was talking, who is explaining you the things. But now I want your questions. If you have any specific questions, please let me know. That will help you better. No questions, guys. That says.
Yeah.
So we have five participants here, and only two were active. I believe whatever I have mentioned here in the session was comprehended well, and there was no specific major doubts.
No, ma'am. Thank you.
No.
Right. So that way, I believe myself the best at providing the better comprehension. Great. So that's all from my side. In that case, the complete presentation or the this content or the material you can ask from the organization. You can ask from the customer support. They can help you out with the recordings of the session, because the session is on record. You can check. So you can ask for the recording of the session if you want it, and do rate. Do like once I'll like end the class, you'll get a rating parameters, I believe. So do rate it there. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for giving me your time and being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.